also had a chance to sit down with the legendary entrepreneur. How can you make tax and tax laws work in your favor as an entrepreneur? In our conversation, Mr. Kiyosaki and his tax advisor, Mr. Tom Wheelwright, helped to answer this question and a whole lot more. Because one of the important elements to consider when you're an entrepreneur and running a business is paying your dues. You gotta pay the tax, man. You gotta pay the government. Let us take a look at the interview. Sir, it's quite an honor to have you in our country. And I can see you with Mr. Wheelwright. We'd like to welcome you to Africa.
Thank you.
It's his first trip.
Oh, it's your first trip?
First time ever.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
how are you finding it?
Fabulous. Everybody's so nice. Everybody's great. It's absolutely fantastic. Love it.
What are some of the things that you've experienced?
Just mostly the people, and the people are just so nice. They're beautiful. They're sharp. They dress well. I just think they're very enthusiastic, and it's just been fabulous.
The dressing nice parts, it's me. I teach them well.
Okay.
Good job. You do well.
I'm kidding, sir. And I'm going to start with you, sir. You are a tax expert.
Correct.
And you are a rich dad advisor.
I am.
Could I advise? I'll introduce him then.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I'll
No. So that's fine. So she did. I just want to say, you know what? When you're an entrepreneur, you're a rich entrepreneur, is when you can travel with your tax advisor. Okay, because no, I'm not kidding you. It's the most important thing you can have as an entrepreneur. The reason you want to be an entrepreneur is you become a partner with the government. And the reason real entrepreneurs pay no tax is because we do what the government wants done. So that's why I travel with Tom. He's my most important advisor because tax is our single largest expense. And Tom is here in Africa, South Africa, and we're teaching entrepreneurs about tax. Because if you do what the government wants, you pay no tax. And if you don't do what the government wants, you pay a lot of tax. And that's in your country and my country. The tax laws are the same. So that's why I travel with Tom. Okay.
So for a younger entrepreneur who is not like on your level, how do we get to access that information?
Well, that's why you have tax advisors. You have to access a good tax advisor and understand, and I actually wrote a book called Tax-Free Wealth to teach people how to find a good tax advisor. And once you have a good tax advisor, then they can start teaching you what you need to do in order to reduce your taxes. Because the government, the tax law is just a series of incentives, right? And primarily for entrepreneurs and professional investors, because the government wants you to build your business because that builds the economy. And so the government gives you tax breaks in order to do that.
So what Tom has said is accurate because he is my teacher. I don't just go out there and make money. Every year I must have a business plan, but a big part of my business plan is my tax planning part of it. So one of the problems I have as a successful entrepreneur, most people aren't, but when you're successful, you have too much money. And what I've got to do is then call Tom and plan for next year. So if I make too much money, then I've got to invest wisely. I do what the government wants done. So I invest in housing, oil and gas, farming, and all that. And so the government will give me tax breaks. So I make more money, pay less taxes, and the government and I are partners.
What made you decide to teach on tax?
Well, so I'm an A student.
I'm a C student.
He's a C student. And I don't like to break rules. I like to follow rules. But so I wanted to find what's the most complicated set of rules that I could use to my benefit, and that would be the tax law. And so what I've learned over the last 35 years, learning the tax law in all these different countries, is that the tax law is really there to help us. It's actually to guide us to do what the government wants us to do. So if the government wants you to invest in your farming, then they give you tax breaks for farming. If they want you to invest in oil, they give you tax breaks for investing in oil. If they want you to build houses, they give you tax breaks for building houses. So whatever the government wants you to do, they give a tax incentive because nobody likes paying taxes.
Yes, sir.
So the easiest way and the cheapest way for the government to get you to do what they want you to do is to give you a tax break for it because, yeah, I'll take it. I'll do whatever you want as long as I don't have to pay taxes, right?
And I interviewed Mr. Kiyosaki on the radio a couple of days ago, and you mentioned that even your good friend Mr. Trump is also going to be going under with the recession that is about to happen right now. How can we protect ourselves?
No, I didn't say Trump was going to go under.
Everybody.
Yeah. No, the rich will get richer. See, crashes make the rich richer. For example, in 2007, when the markets went down, I borrowed, probably $200 million at that time and started buying apartment houses because the prices had come down. And when markets crashes, price comes down. The good thing about the last crash was when the market crashed, interest rates went down too. So when interest rates went down and now they're near zero, they're basically saying to an entrepreneur, please borrow money. We need you to borrow this money and expand the economy. That's how I look at it. So crashes are good. Unfortunately for the unprepared, and what I did say was that there's 95% chance the U.S. and the world are in recession now. There's a 20% chance we'll go to depression. Now, all that means as an entrepreneur, I'm going to change my strategies on how I make money. That's all it means to me. Unfortunately, a million companies will go out of business, people will lose their jobs and all that. But that's all what we talk about is a good entrepreneur is prepared for good economies and bad economies. When markets crash, which they all do, it's really a good time. The point here is this, the government wants to do what I do, and Tom says he's here with us teaching young entrepreneurs how you do that, make money, and pay a lot less in taxes, being a partner with the government. That's our message.
Now, I'm a young person in entrepreneurship. I'd love to learn from you. How do I get in touch with your programs?
So my book is Tax-Free Wealth, and it's available in bookstores, on Amazon, and that's where I would go, is Tax-Free Wealth.
I encourage Tom to write it is because I pay zero tax legally, and because you can pay no tax illegally, and you can pay no tax legally. But as I say to everybody, I don't want to go to jail, you know what I mean? Dance for my boyfriend, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So I asked Tom to write Tax-Free Wealth because we traveled the world together for years. The tax laws for the rich are basically the same. They're incentives for entrepreneurs to do what the government wants done. For me, my two pet projects are housing, apartment houses, and oil. And so when I make a lot of money in my business, then I invest it in housing and oil. So I make more money and pay zero tax legally. That's what Tom and I are teaching people in South Africa right now. So his book, Tax-Free Wealth, is for you as the entrepreneur to read. It gives you a guide to interview your tax advisor, your chartered accountant, because there's smart chartered accountants and stupid chartered accountants, as we know. So you've got to be smarter to know a smart one from a not so smart one.
You said on stage that entrepreneurs are born. We're just taught to work for other people. Why is entrepreneurship important, especially for a continent like ours, Africa?
Well, because unemployment is going to go up. In America, unemployment is now 22%, but we lie about it. The government lies on their stats, as you know. The point here is that we need more entrepreneurs because only entrepreneurs create real jobs. When a government creates a job, it's actually a drain on the tax system because when you have a government employee, you have to tax the people more. But when an entrepreneur creates a job, they pay more taxes. So this whole thing is the world needs entrepreneurs. And the thing I love about South Africa or young people, we are born entrepreneurs. You know, the first time I came to South Africa, I'm driving along the car. Every place you stop,
someone's on the window.
Yeah, they're pitching me this, pitching me. I said, hey, go for it, man, go for it. Because you guys are natural entrepreneurs. The trouble is you lack the formal training. So with formal entrepreneurial training taught by real entrepreneurs, Tom has his own company as an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. My whole advisor team are entrepreneurs. We see the world differently. So we're going to Grahamstown and we work with St. Andrew's Academy. And we're going to teach in that room. We're going to have students, we're going to have faculty. Then we're going to have, the African counterparts. We're going to have bankers, we're going to have real estate guys, we're going to have farmers and all these real entrepreneurs. And then we're going to have representatives from the African community. So at St. Andrew's, we're going to spend 2 to 3 days teaching them how to think like entrepreneurs and tax laws and all that stuff. The object then, and we don't know if we're going to make it, is to have the young rich kids in private school go into the townships to teach the other kids. And we use a game because kids love games. My game is called Cash Flow.
Yes.
So we're going to have young rich kids teach less advantaged kids in the townships with the blessings as a team, the faculty, the students, the real entrepreneurs from that whole area over there, St. Andrew. What's it called?
Grahamstown?
Grahamstown.
Yes.
As well as representatives from the African community. It's a team sport. See, business is like rugby. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It's not like soccer. It's different. Not like cricket. It's like rugby. You can be fat, tall, skinny, but rugby, you play together. We don't care what size you are, just want to play.
Yeah.
And so that's why on our team I have Tom as my accountant, I have my attorneys, I have my engineers, I have my bankers, I have my wife, who's the smartest, you know what I mean? And we all teach, because business is much like the sport of rugby. It's a team sport, but your size really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And like in basketball, you should be tall. In soccer, you should be skinny.
Yeah.
But the lovely thing about rugby, you can be a fat guy like me and still find a place on the team.
You've actually done well. Last year, you were a little bit bigger. You've lost.
Well, thank you. You're kind. You're kind. You're very kind.
You're looking good.
But anyway, South Africa is ready for it now. You guys are ready.
Sir, I'm a starting entrepreneur. I just started my business. I'm new in entrepreneurship. What advice do you give me?
Well, first get financial education. Make sure you know what you're doing and practice. Okay, learn how to sell and put a team together. I mean, to me, those are the two big things. Learning how to sell, that was the first thing I had to learn as an accountant when I started my company. And then the second thing is how to put a team together and how to work with a team.
Who are the three most important people in an entrepreneur's team?
Accountant, an attorney, and a IT guy.
IT guy.
and the thing that's really funny today is the IT guys are the most important guys, and they're all young kids now.
Yeah.
And they're telling the old guys what to do.
They run the whole world. I mean,
Yeah.
there's Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat. They run the whole world.
Yeah, and some of these young guys, they didn't go to school. They're just geniuses on the iPhone and stuff like that. So it's a different world. So that it's not about age, size, gender, education now. Most of my IT guys never went to school. They just know this stuff. So it's a team sport. So I got to have my attorney for the laws, make sure I don't break any laws. I must have my accountant, so I minimize my taxes, and I got to have IT. I just love the game of entrepreneurship. I love the freedom. And as I say, every young person is born an entrepreneur. Then they go to school and learn to be an employee or accountant or a lawyer or a doctor. And they forget about the game of business. Business and investing are team sports. So I don't buy stocks, and I don't buy mutual funds, and I don't save money. I borrow money. Savers need a break. So when somebody puts money in the bank, they got to have somebody like me to borrow it. With zero interest rates, they need guys like me bad right now who can borrow money. But we're not taught to borrow money. So that's why I have Tom on all this. The more money I borrow, the more businesses that I build, the less tax I pay. And as long as I do what the government wants me to do. So that's why I have smart guys, A students like Tom.
And I must say your book has changed a lot of lives, including myself. I was reading about the four quadrants, the E, the S, the B, and the I's, and which is beautiful. And the cash flow game is very popular in the country. A lot of entrepreneurs play the game. Yeah. And as we are going to be screening this on our TV show, a lot of people are going to be talking about your visit to the country. We'd like to thank you. We'd like to appreciate you with the work that you've been doing in changing lives and empowering us young entrepreneurs to pass on the baton and grow and become as successful as you guys are. May the Lord just bless your journey.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's been delightful.
Thank you, sir. I'd like for you to
thank you.
Give our last words to our entrepreneurs out there, Mr. Kiyosaki.
Well, the most important thing is you have to share. The more you share and what you know, the more you learn. And don't be afraid to say you don't know something, because nobody knows everything. So if you want to get smart, be stupid. Just say, I don't know. Explain that to me. And that's all I do with Tom. Explain that to me. And he explains it to me. That's okay, now I'll do that. But I don't have to know all the answers. I just have to hang out with A students. That's it.